Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachakodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is B.T.T.B, Back to the Basics, Genesis chapter 1. And I'm just going to continue on from where we went to yesterday. We went through the second chapter, dealing with the rivers, dealing with, the records of the heavens and of the earth. The first time that the Most High's name, Yahweh, the Lord, appeared in scriptures. Let me grab something real quick so I can. Okay. So, and just wanted to do a little continuation, more so for the newer members that may be watching. And I know you could just go and type in GMS or Great Millstone and type in Genesis chapter 1, Genesis chapter 2, Revelation chapter 17 or whatever, and all kind of videos will come up. But the Spirit's been on me to go through this for some reason. So, let's go. So Genesis 1:1. This scripture here, a so-called Christian couldn't break this down if their life depended on it. Because most people, including some Israelite groups, they get stuck on the English. They can't get past the English language. Even though some of them know that the origins of the Bible were not written in English. It was written in Hebrew and in Greek, and then translated into other languages afterwards. That's why in some cases you'll have names in English that are not names that are in the Hebrew, but they're names that are transliterated from the Hebrew or the Greek. And the transliteration is not a translation. A transliteration is just basically taking letters from one language, taking letters of another language, and making those letters in that other language match the ones in the original language, so that it can sound similar to that, but that's not it. A translation is different from a transliteration. So when you read Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Most people believe this is talking about the Heavenly Father, God, and it's not. How do we get some understanding on it? Well, you have to go to the Hebrew word God, which goes back to the Hebrew word Elohim. Now, if you know anything about the Hebrew, you have Yum and you have Wath. Those are plurals. Yum is masculine plural, and the Wath is feminine plural. But sometimes the masculine will be used in Wath, like in Hamalakwath, the kingdom, Yahweh Tezabawath, or the Lord of the armies. Sometimes it's written in that fashion, but Yum and Wath are both plural, make the word plural. So the word here, Elohim, should really be Allah, or the word it should be Elohim, but sometimes when you see the word God, I should say, the word Allah should be there, which is the singular way of saying the Most High's name, or Allah there, the two. Okay, so let's go to it. It says plural, see right there, it says plural. This is the plural form of God. And why is that? Because the Most High Yahweh, who created his son Yahushai, gave him the blueprint, and he created everything else that we see. So Yahushai created every other spirit that came from the Most High, if that makes any sense to you. And they in turn help him also to build the rest of what we see today, known as the world. All right? So it says plural, rulers, judges. So it could be a ruler or rulers, really, in the plural sense. It could be judges, all right? Divine ones, ones that are inspired by the Most High. It could be actual angels in the heavens. And the word angel, depending on the context, could be either talking about a spiritual angel from the heavens, or it could be speaking about a physical angel, because the word angel means messenger. Then you have here gods, which will be false gods. All right. Then you have a plural intensive singular meaning. God, goddess, God-like one, works or special possession of God, the true God, the power. All right. So it all depends on the context of the word. Now, the word Alahayim goes back to the word Alawah, right, which is God or false God. Then it goes back to the Hebrew here, Allah, which is the singular form of the word God. Okay? God, godlike one, mighty men, men of rank. So you could have a warrior that's known as a God. You could have a judge. You could have an angel, false gods, or you could have, this can be also applied to the true power, which his name is Yahweh, not Jehovah. All right. Now, how do we know that this is dealing with, it's not dealing with the Most High himself? Well, we proved to you in the last lesson that the name Yahweh did not appear in the first chapter of Genesis. But when you go to the second chapter of Genesis and the fourth verse, that's the first time the name of the Most High appears, because the Most High, when you understand the narrative of what really happened, he had a blueprint, created his son Yahushai, and Yahushai created everything else that we see. Right? And that's a whole lot right there to swallow down. So when we jump down to the same chapter and the 26th verse, it says, and God said, which is the same word that was up above. If you click on here, you're gonna see Alahayim. Let us is what? Plural. Make man in our is what? Plural. Image. After our likeness. So this is not just dealing with the Heavenly Father. And it wasn't dealing with the Heavenly Father. It was dealing with Yahushai and the angels. All right. Let's go back up here. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, or Yahushai and the angels. When we go to St. John, chapter 1 and 1, this is a reiteration or a recounting of what was taking place in Genesis, the first chapter. John 1 and 1. In the beginning was the Word. Who was the Word, or the Logos, or Logos? Yahushai. All right. And the Word was with the power, or the God, the Most High. And the Word was a God. That's how it should read. Now, I don't think any of these other translations write it in that fashion. No, it doesn't. But when you go to those of you brothers that may have the red Bible that we get from the so-called Jehovah's Witness, right? They have something known as a watchtower where they print their programs or pamphlets, and then they also print these red Bibles along with the green hardcover Bible known as a New Translation. All right. But when you go here, right, in the beginning of the book, right, let's say around, if you turn the pages, when you get to the actual pages, the first page says the Holy Bible containing the Hebrew and Greek scripture, right? Then you have page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7. Page 7 has the table, has something called illustrations of the original Hebrew, Greek, and Syriac text of the Holy Bible. What says with the interlinear literal translation. And then they'll give you Genesis 2 and 4 in the Aramaean, and it tells you how to read it and what it says. And then in St. John, in the Greek portion, it says St. John chapter 1, verse 1. And it gives you the Greek writing of St. John 1 and 1. In the beginning was a word, right? But it gives it to you in the Greek. But when you read through the English portion of it, it says, in a beginning was the Word. This is dealing with Yahushai. And the Word was with the God, or with the Most High. And a God was the Word. This is basically saying that Yahushai was a God that the Most High created. And people get confused on that word God. They don't understand what it means. It says, this was in the beginning with the God, or with the power, the Most High. Okay? Because Yahushua was the first spirit ever created. That's why he's known as the only begotten Son of the Most High. So now that we got that out the way, In the beginning was the word. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go back. Genesis 1 and 1. In the beginning, the powers created the heaven and the earth. Right? It says, and the earth was without form and void. So basically, the earth was there, but the earth was in its elemental stage. All right. You got to remember, everything was in its elemental stage. The so-called universe, the earth, the waters, the trees, everything was in the elemental stage, man. Right? Let's go real quick to St. John. I'm sorry. I got St. John on the brain. Jeremiah chapter 4 and verse 23. All right. It says, I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void, and the heavens, and they had no light. Why? Because there was nothing there but elements. Okay? There were elements there. There was no form. There was void. It's the same thing that we're reading in Genesis 1 and 1. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. So the deep would be space, and the darkness would be the darkness that's out there. Like when you look up into the heavens. It says, and the spirit of the powers moved upon the face of the water. So the spirit of Yahushua and the angels, these elements. All right. These are elements in the element stage. All right. Let's go real quick to 2 Peter to give you like a little understanding. And those of you that have gone to school, that have actually gone to like science class, they usually, the first year of your high school, I believe it is, if I'm not mistaken, could be in the 8th grade too, they show you or teach you about the table of elements. All right. And when we read Peter 3 and 10, it says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. This is talking about the destruction with the missiles and the lasers from the chariot. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up, meaning Esau, his governments, and the governments of these heathens, are going to be brought down. All right? Because the whole earth is not going to be burnt. The earth abideth forever. And there's going to be people that are going to be survivors of this destruction that are still going to be on the earth after the destruction. So it's not talking about the whole earth blowing up. All right? It's talking about the power structures of the world being shaken and taken down by Yahushua. But America will be totally burnt up, and so will the land of Israel. So the word we're looking for here is the word element or elements. Elements is the word stoichion. Stoichion, right? It says any first thing from which the others belonging to some series or composite whole take their rise, an element, first principle. So these elements on the element stage, or the periodic table, right, which they call the element table, the periodic table, these are all fundamental elements that create, through a compound, create other elements. Like, for instance, you got hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen and oxygen are two separate elements by themselves, but when you put them together, a certain portion of each one, they create what? Water, H2O. 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen, create water. And so do many other different compounds of elements when you put them together. So everything was in its principle. It also goes back to stoichio, to proceed in a row as the march of a soldier go in order. So in other words, when you take certain things apart and you find out what compounds or components they're made of, they're all made up of different elements that are put together, that come from one of those, 2 of those, 3 of those, or whatever elements on that periodic table, which is the principal beginning or stages of building everything or anything you see. Okay? Just to give you a little science. Genesis 1 verse 2. And the earth was without form and void. So the elements were there, the earth was there, but it was in its elemental stage. And darkness was upon the face of the earth of the deep, because it was dark. It was no light. And the scriptures say that the Most High dwelleth in darkness. And the spirit of the powers moved upon the face of the waters, meaning that Yahushua and the angels started to, they were getting ready to illuminate these elements. And when you look at these elements under a telescope in their primal state, for lack of better words, everything has a glow around it. There's like a light that was put upon these things. Now, when you have the conception of a man and a woman, when the sperm hits the egg, when it goes through the fallopian tube, it goes through the vagina, inside joke, it goes through the fallopian tubes, whatever the process is. Once it hits the egg, that is the beginning of life. And under a microscope, they show you that once that sperm hits the egg, there is a glow that comes, and that's the spirit entering into that sperm cell that grows to be, a child. All right. And these devils are such demons that they say, well, that's pretty much, that's zinc. The reason why it does it is because there's zinc. No, that's life. All right. It says, and the powers said, let there be light, and there was light. So pretty much what the powers, Yahweh and the angels did was they illuminated these elements. And the powers saw the light and that it was good, meaning when they said that Yahweh and the angels saw that it was good, meaning it was according to the blueprint of the Most High. Everything was going according to plan. And the powers divided the light from the darkness. All right, because you have a part of the universe that's light, part that's I had this years ago. It says day and night at the same time and place plus supermoon. And this is I believe they call that what do they call that? The dating cruise line, something like that. I can't think of the name. I was trying to find the name of it before. But it shows you how you have ships on the sea that'll be traveling, and then you'll see part of the ship is in the darkness and the part is in the daytime. And this video shows it. I'm gonna show you. See, that's light. This guy's in a ship. He's showing the light, and he's panning over to the right, and there's nighttime. See? So the Lord did that. Who did that? The Lord did that. So you can see again, light on one side and darkness or nighttime on the other side of the ship. Okay? So the Lord divided the night from the day, or the light from the darkness. And the powers called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. The first day were the first 1,000 years. 2 Peter 3:8. 1 day is with the Lord is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is 1 day. And the powers said, let there be light. And the powers said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let them divide the waters from the waters. Now the waters represent, once again, the elements. The firmament represents the ozone layer, what they call the ozone layer. And outside of the ozone layer, right, Esau calls it the Van Allen belt. You have something called the Van Allen belt, which Esau called it that. But the Van Allen belt is a radiational belt that goes around, the earth. Salaka, let me take this real quick. Hey, shalom, bro. Yeah, I mean, it's coming. I'm just, I think they might be thirdly or so I'm saying, still monitoring. Okay, cool. What all right, well, there you have to shut All right, so Salaki for that, to take the call real quick. So the firmament would be the ozone layer. Esau has what they call the Van Allen belt. The Van Allen belt, as they call it, is a radiation belt that goes around the Earth, and pretty much it's to keep the elements and debris from the outer atmosphere or space coming into the Earth. That was this pretty much, it was a protective shield that the Lord put over the Earth. Okay, just so you could understand. And by the way, matter of fact, no, I'll wait till we get to the other part of it before I even go there with it. So it says, "In the power said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters or the elements from the waters, from the other elements. Elements inside the earth from the elements outside the earth." Right? The elements outside the earth, this is why you got to wear space suits and all that stuff, oxygen mask, in order to breathe out there, because the air is a lot thinner, because the elements are more spread apart. In the earth, they're more closer together. When you go into the waters, the elements are super compacted. All right, and that is the atmosphere for fish and such sea life to be able to survive. And the powers made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And the powers called the firmament heaven. So when you go, there's three forms of heaven, or three types of heaven. Heavens. You have going up, into the sky, into space. That's the second heaven. And then the Heavenly Father is in the third heaven. That would be the spirit world. All right. And that's where the Apostle Paul got caught up into, in the third heaven. You can read about that in 2 Corinthians, the 12th chapter, I believe it is. And the powers called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. So this was the second 1,000th year of creation. And the power said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together unto one place, elements, one place, and let the dry land appear. Now, this case right here, the dry land appeared, the waters or the elements under the heavens came together, a certain amount of them, and created what we know as the dry land. And it was into one place. So it was one big hunk of land. And that one big hunk of land will be known today as what they call, I'm going to get rid of this, as what they call Pangea. Pangea, or Pan is all, Gea is earth. As you can see, everything was together as one at one time. It was one big landmass, so you could understand. And that's why when you look at the earth in this current form, as it's broken up, it all looks like it would fit into one another. All right, because at one time the earth was together, and after the flood, that's when we believe the earth spread apart because of the pressure from the water that was above. And water has a lot of pressure, and it has the ability to split things apart. All right. And by the way, this is Eurasia, as you can see. You don't see any Europe. I know our Elder Malcolm would love this, this map here, because it doesn't show anything about any Europe, because there really ain't no Europe, Eurasia, This is Russia, right? Now you have these individuals that say that the earth is flat. Well, right now, as we speak, this same so-called flat map still exists, right? It's split apart. And right now, to get from Alaska to the furthest point of Russia over here will take forever, right? To get across there. Well, guess what? The tip of Alaska from the tip of Russia is only 55 miles away. So if you're going by plane, you're talking about a few minutes. You're going by ship, depending on how fast the ship goes, probably an hour or less. And if you were to go by car, if there was an actual bridge that went there, it'll take about an hour to get there. So from Alaska to Russia is only 55 miles. So how the fuck can that be if the earth was flat? How can you get from here to here? From Alaska to come all the way across to the other side of America would take you at least 3 days, or 3 days and some change. So how in the hell can you get from Alaska to Russia in 55 miles if the earth was flat? Just saying. Anyways, Verse 9, the power was to let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And the power is called the dry land earth. And the gathering together of the waters called the seas. And the power saw that it was good. It was according to the plans of the Most High Yahweh. And the fruit yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so, right? So every fruit, every vegetable, everything that you see on the earth should have seeds. Man has a seed. Animals have seeds. Plants have seeds. Trees have seeds. Everything has seeds. Everything springs forth life through the seed of some sort or the other. But then this devil does what? Gives you, seedless, or the argument is, well, it's a pain in the ass. You eating the orange, which I don't eat oranges. Oranges taste like ass now. Salakia had to be so graphic. It tastes like tastes disgusting in comparison to to oranges from back in the days. A real good. Nice, good, sweet orange from back in the days, man, that don't even exist anymore. I don't know when the last time I had a real good orange. But everything has seeds. Now you got seedless grapes, seedless watermelon, organic seedless watermelon. It says, and the earth brought forth grass, and the herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind, and the power saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning was the third day. So this is the 3,000th year of creation. The trees, the seeds, fruits, and all that was created. And the power said, let there be lights, Salaki, in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night. What are these lights? The sun, the moon, the stars. All right. Let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, because these lights in the heavens were given as a timekeeper also. They were given for seasons, to know when one season's changed to another, for signs in the heavens when something is about to happen or go down. It was also given as a timekeeper. And what was the main timekeeper in the heavens? It was the moon. Okay, the moon was the main keeper of time, and that's why the moon goes through what is known as phases. When we go to 1 Samuel, for those of you that don't know, chapter 20, verse 24, I believe it is. Right. It says, so David hid himself in the field, which the new moon is what they call the dark moon, which is when the moon is. The king sat him down to eat meat, and the king sat upon his seat, as at other times, even upon a seat by the wall. And Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side, and David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul spake not anything that day, for he thought something had befallen him. He is not clean. Surely he is not clean. Why? Because the new moon, which is the beginning of the month, is also a Sabbath. And you want to be clean on the Sabbath. So something happened to him. Either he came upon a carcass of an animal, maybe he had sex with a woman. This is what King Saul was thinking, so on and so forth. So he didn't pay attention to that day, right? So it says, and it came to pass on the morrow, meaning the next day after the new moon, which was the second day of the month. See? So the new moon dictates the time, because if you're trying to do a count of the first day of the month or the first day of the week, or how to count to get to Passover or to a high holy day or to a particular month, you have to start with the new moon. Now, every month there is a moon that comes, a new moon cycle. And that's what it's called, the new moon, or Chadash, which is new moon. Now, is it a new moon? No, it's just the same moon being refreshed again, because the moon was set up to give different phases throughout the month to let us know, because it's a dictator of time, to let us know what part of the month we were in. And each, new moon that came around would bring forth the next month. And that would also help to dictate all of the Sabbaths. It would help to dictate the days of the week, the month, so on and so forth. When the high holy days were coming in. And when you saw the moon in its perfection, which was the full moon, That was the middle of the month, which is when you had certain high feast days, like the Passover, like the Feast of Tabernacle. Now, the Feast of Purim happens to fall in the middle of the month, which is the 14th and the 15th day. They happen to fall, in the middle of the month, and that was set up that way. And that's where the moon goes through the different changes to help us keep track of time. And that's how Issachar was found, and also other signs in the heavens. These lights were set up for signs, for seasons, and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of heaven to give light upon earth. And it was so. And the powers made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, which is the sun, and the lesser light to rule the night, which is the moon. He made the stars also. And that's why you have like different clusters of stars up there, which they call the Orion belt, they call Arcturus, they call Aries and Virgo and all that, different constellations, and the Big Dipper, the Little Dipper, and the North Star. So these are all set up in the heavens for signs, seasons, days, and years, especially the moon. And the powers set them in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And the power saw that it was good, right? Because you're not going to really see the sun up unless it's some heavenly sign. You ain't going to see the sun up at night, all right? And the evening and the morning was the fourth day, which is the 4,000th year, which, the IUIC tried to say, well, how can the moon be the dictator of the Sabbath? I forget, however they say, if it was created the fourth day. Well, what actual day was it? Because you're talking about 4,000 years. What actual day was it when the moon was created in that 4,000-year period? Because you got 1,000 years to choose from. And the Most High's ways are not our ways. So when the Lord set this up, he's setting it up. This is how he set it up. And then he gave us later on, because the law wasn't written here just yet, he gave us later on down the line, he gave us law, statutes, and commandments, which was roughly, you could say roughly around, let's see, four, that's two, about 2,500 years in the future or something like that, because the children of Israel were led out of Egypt, freed up from Egypt around 1,500 BC or so, somewhere around there, according to certain records. So the Lord set up the 7th day, this when he rested, right? But then he gave us 7-day Sabbath dictated by the moon. It ain't that hard, man. And the powers to let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life. This is the 5th day, or the beginning of the 5th day. Man is a creature. The word creature comes from the word create. All right? Creature is not just a monster or an animal, even though an animal is nothing more than anima, which is Spanish word for soul, moving creature, moving person, moving thing. All right? So this is pretty much everything was created beginning on the 5th day. Man, beast, fish, dragons, whatever. Everything was created on the 5th day. Fowls of the heaven, creeping things, so on and so, reptiles. Let's go real quick just to give you a little. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 17. Therefore, if any man be in Yahushua, he is what? A new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. So Genesis 1:20, and the powers to let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, man included, and fowls that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And the powers created great whales, and these great whales here are sea creatures. You have Leviathan. You could read Job 41. That goes into Leviathan. You can read Job 40. That goes into Behemoth. Behemoth were the dinosaurs. Um, Leviathan was the sea monsters. They call Godzilla, whatever. You had, sea creatures that were created. Um, in Lamentation, chapter 4, and I'm almost positive that that same word there appears, that's back in Genesis 1 also here. Lamentations 4 and 3, even the sea monsters, sea monsters that were created in the first day. Matter of fact, let me see. Let me see if this will come up. Yep. Matter of fact, we're going to bring this back. It says, Lamentations 4:3, even the sea monsters draw out. Matter of fact, you know what? Before we do that, let's go here. And the powers created great whales. When you look up the word great whales, you have the word Thanayan. Gadal or Gadawal, which is great. Thanayan. It's dragon, serpent, sea monster. See? Dragon or dinosaur, sea or river monster, serpent, venomous snake. So this was, sea monster that was created. When you go to Lamentations 4, even the sea monster draw out the breast. You go to the Hebrew portion, sea monster, thun, which is a root word to thanayan, which we just read, thun. Habitation, jackals, dragons, sea monster, see? And this should send you, where is it going to send you to? Okay, now it's not going to send you to, it just sends you to dragon, maybe the extinct dinosaur, the whale. Now it's talking about sea monsters. All right, when we go to the Apocrypha in 2 Ezra 6 and 49, then didst thou ordain two living creatures, the one thou callest Enoch, which is learnt man, Chanawak, and the other Leviathan. See? So when the Lord created man, or when the Lord created these moving creatures, he created the fish, the sea monsters, man, everything that you see. So let's read this again. Genesis 1:21, the powers created great whales and every living creature that moveth, see, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind, and the power saw that it was good. So everything was created on the fifth day. And the power waters in the seas and let fowl multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were what? The fifth day. So man was created in the 5,000th year. All right. Verse 24, and the power said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beasts of the earth after his kind, and it was so. And the powers made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And the power saw that it was good. It was according to the plans of the Most High Yahweh. So everything has its order. All right. And the power said, let us make man in our image, plural, after our likeness, plural, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. And at one time, all life was in fear of man. You see? But then after after Adam and Eve went off, or even Adam went off, then everything just started turning upside down. So the powers created man in his own image. In the image of the powers created he him, because he gave us dominion over everything. Male and female created he them. There's only two genders, male and female. Inside joke. And the powers blessed them, and the powers said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, meaning have sex. But here they give you condoms, they give you, what's that called? Planned Parenthood, get rid of the babies and all that shit, and replenish the earth, see, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. So we had power over it. And eventually the Lord gave us the ability to distinguish clean beasts from unclean beasts. Because remember, before the law was written, the Lord told Noah, when you bring the animals on the ark, make sure you bring the animals and the birds. Make sure you bring two clean. I'm sorry, unclean, and 14 clean. So how did he know to distinguish the unclean from the clean? Because it was already there, it was just verbal. This is before the law was actually written and etched in stone. And the power said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which there is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. Because in the beginning we weren't eating meat. We were eating vegetation, fruits, vegetation, so on and so forth. It wasn't until Noah and the replenishing of the earth that we started eating, animals. All right. And that's where you have the distinction between clean animals and unclean animals. All right. The clean animals were set up for sacrificing to the Lord and for food. And then the unclean animals were set up, and the unclean fish and fowls and all that was set up as a garbage men of whatever, wherever they were at. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so, because at one time, lions and tigers and bears and all that, they didn't eat meat. They ate the greenery, the vegetation. But then everything turned upside down. It's going back to that. Because in the kingdom of heaven, lions and bears and tigers and stuff, and these predatory animals are not going to be that way. Now if we want to tear into Esau's ass or the other nation's ass, and we have that right. Isaiah 11:6, and the wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid. See, so you have a leopard and a wolf that's going to be among these docile animals and not mess with them. And the calf and the young lion, like sometimes you see like certain situations where you might have a lion that grew up, with lambs and goats and stuff, and they won't attack them. Why? Because that's how they grew up. But in the kingdom, they're going to be programmed like that. And the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. Yeah, because they're not going to be a threat. All right. And the cow and the bear shall feed; their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. See. Back to how it was. Genesis 1:31. The power saw everything that he had made, meaning that according to the Lord's very good. So everything turned out as the blueprint of the Most High was supposed to be. And the evening and the morning were the 6 days. So in the 6,000 years, he established, sex. So you could understand. All right. To be fruitful and multiply. So on and so forth. All right. So with that, this has been B.T.T.B. Back to the Basics, Genesis chapter 1. I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say, Shalom.